So we're back once again with the Chicago Hawks, the rebrand of the Chicago Blackhawks organization, and today I'm going to try to win a Stanley Cup, but right now I don't have any players. So how are we going to add players to this team? Through the wheel of NHL teams. So we're going to go ahead and spin this wheel 20 times, get 20 different NHL teams, and we're going to be adding players to our team. So we got the Vegas Golden Knights, and in an ideal situation, we'd be adding either Mark Stone or Jack Eichel. However, that's not the case this time around. In order to make this a bit more interesting, I have every single position on this wheel, and when I say every position, I mean first line center, second line center, third line center. So from the Vegas Golden Knights, we're going to be taking their fourth line left winger. Basically, we're going to be filling an entire team out through doing this. So that means from the Vegas Golden Knights, the first player we're going to be adding to this team is Pavel Dorfia. Not too familiar with this guy, other than the fact that his first career goal was scored against the St. Louis Blues, and it deflected off his face into the back of the net. I don't know how I feel about this. So obviously, if we land on the Edmonton Oilers or Toronto Maple Leafs, we want to pick up a first liner from one of those teams. And from the Colorado Avalanche, as long as we can get first or second line, or maybe even the first pairing defense, we could get an amazing player here. And honestly, I don't even know what I want, because I mean, anything's going to help this team, but I think first pairing right winger would be nice, but also take their first line center, because I already know that's Nathan MacKinnon. With the Colorado Avalanche, nothing really needs to be considered here. We already knew who we were going to be picking up, and that's going to be Nathan MacKinnon, and he's now our number one center. And it's also important to note, now that we've added Nathan MacKinnon to our team, in no way possible can we get Connor McDavid, because Connor McDavid's also a first line center, so he's off the books now. So thankfully, we got one of the best first line centers in the entire game. Moving around over to our next spin, it looks like we're going to be adding somebody from the Seattle Kraken. Obviously, with the Seattle Kraken, we want second line right winger, because that's Andre Burakovsky. Holy crap, it's landing on second line right winger. Alright, so we might as well just end this video now, because now that we have Andre Burakovsky, it's guaranteed we win a Stanley Cup. Moving right on over to our next spin, we're going to be adding somebody from the New York Islanders, and ideally, I hope we get their starting goaltender, and I think it's pretty clear why. Like, honestly, the last thing I want is getting the starting goaltender of the Arizona Coyotes. I guess I'll take their fourth line center. I got no clue who it is, though. From the New York Islanders, we're actually getting a really solid fourth line player in Casey Zizekas. I mean, I'll take an 80 overall to play on our fourth line. There's probably not too many players on the fourth line that are 80 overall and above, so that's definitely going to be a steal for us. I guess it also would be important to note that I can't land on the same team twice. We got the Pittsburgh Penguins, by the way. So now that the New York Islanders are off the board, I can't get Sorokin by any means. We're getting the second line center on the Pittsburgh Penguins. So not only do we already have an elite first line center on our team in Nathan MacKinnon, but now we have an elite second line center in Evgeny Malkin. We're slowly building a great center core here. And we also have Casey Zizekas as our fourth line center. As long as we can get a decent third line center, I think we're great down the middle. The odds of this happening, of us landing on the Seattle Kraken and then proceeding to get second line right winger, doesn't make sense. So I think we've got enough forwards on the team to start with. Let's try to get a defenseman now, and we might be getting one from the Buffalo Sabres. Unless you're giving me Rasmus Dahlin or Owen Power, you better be giving me Tage Thompson. I know for a fact Tage Thompson is not a fourth line right winger on that team. Actually, I take that back. This is working out fantastic for us. 82 overall Kyle Oposo. We have two 80 overalls on our fourth line now. So far, our team's actually got a lot of depth on the forward front, like an 80 overall and an 82 overall on the fourth line. We're building something here, and we're building something special. But I mean, it doesn't really matter how good our team is if we get a terrible goaltender. We got the New York Rangers, and please give me Shesterkin. Unfortunately, we're going to be missing on a top defenseman, but luckily, third line right winger, this Rangers team has a ton of depth, so that's going to be a good pickup. So from the New York Rangers, we're going to be missing out on all the talent on the top six, and we're getting Capo Kakko as our third line right winger. We could have got something better, but I mean, I guess we could have also got something worse, so I'll live with it. So I think we've got enough forwards so far. Can I see some defensemen? Detroit Red Wings. I take that back. I want a forward because I don't think their defense is very good. It's not I think their defense isn't great. I know their defense isn't great. Backup goaltender isn't the end of the world here. So it looks like Alex Nedeljkovic is going to be our backup goaltender, 80 overall. I mean, he hasn't been that great since he left Carolina, but I see the potential with him on our team. And how we're building a team so far, I expect his numbers to be pretty decent. Now, if we had to run Alex Nedeljkovic as our starting goaltender, then I would be very concerned. Calgary, you got a ton of talent here. Let's see what we can pick up from you guys. I don't think Calgary has any super weak positions. I don't recall who their third line center is, but it couldn't be that bad. So according to EA, Nazem Kadri is the third line center. Is Nazem Kadri actually the third line center on the Calgary Flames? I was assuming he was the second behind Lindholm. Is Backlund actually ahead of him? Like, I haven't paid a ton of attention to the Calgary Flames. No disrespect to them, but I mean, because isn't Kadri getting paid $7 million? Are you really playing a $7 million man on your third line? All right then. So you can't convince me we don't have the best center depth in the league. Nathan MacKinnon, Malkin, Kadri, and then Casey Zizekas to round out the fourth line. Nah, that's elite. Now from the Minnesota Wild, I wouldn't mind a first line left winger here. maybe give me Kirill Kaprizov. We did get starting goaltender though, so it's either Philip Gustafson or Marc-Andre Fleury. Really, it's just up to EA who they have in the starting position. I mean, it could be Philip Gustafson. It also could be Marc-Andre Fleury. I don't really know how updated these rosters are. It looks like it's going to be Philip Gustafson, an 85 overall. Marc-Andre Fleury is an 86, but he is the backup, so we're going with a tandem of Philip Gustafson and Alex Nedeljkovic. That's not too bad. So we have our goaltending tandem decided. Now we just got to fill out a decent defensive core around them, and the team we're picking from next is going to be the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, I wouldn't mind if you gave me a first pairing left defenseman, because then we could add Zach Werenski to the team, but that's not what we're going to get. We got the second pairing right D-man. So it looks like we're going to be bringing Adam Boqvist onto the team, 84 overall, low elite potential, offensive defenseman. Honestly, 84 overall in the second pairing, that sounds like a great pickup to me. The next team we're adding a player from is the Boston Bruins, and I don't think it really matters what position we land on here, because we're going to be adding an elite player no matter what. Second pairing left D-man from Boston, that's either Hampus Lindholm or Dmitry Orlov, and it looks like it's the first guy I named. 87 overall Hampus Lindholm on our second pairing. Nah, if we don't win 50 games this season, something went wrong. So let's just keep on spinning that NHL Teams wheel, and now we got the Vancouver Canucks. Now, Vancouver's defense is definitely not one I want to add from, unless it's the first pairing right D-man, because that's Hronek. They picked him up at the trade deadline last season, and now we've got an elite number one D-man. I mean, I guess the number one pairing left defenseman wouldn't have been bad either, because that would have been Quinn Hughes. So as long as we got the first pairing defense, we're great. You're kidding me, right? Hronek's on the second pairing, and we got Tyler Myers. Ain't no way this is the pairings that Vancouver was running. No wonder they couldn't win any games. This is why you should never have faith in a poverty franchise like the Vancouver Canucks. All the talent in the world, and somehow that team can't see any success. Anaheim's up next. I mean, Vancouver's not really a poverty franchise. They finished ahead of the St. Louis Blues in the standings, but that's neither here nor there. First line left winger from the Anaheim Ducks? Who would that be? I don't think it's Troy Terry, because I thought he played on the right side. Frank Vatrano, 81 overall Frank Vatrano, and he has to be our first line left winger. Things are starting to fall apart here. We only have 6 positions left on the wheel, so we got to start landing on some big teams that have some great players, and the Carolina Hurricanes is definitely one of them. Now, if you guys could give me your first line right winger, then we'll be all set here. I guess I'll take your third line left winger though. So instead of getting guys like Seth Jarvis, Teuvo Teravainen, Svechnikov, and Martin Necas, we're getting Jordan Martinook. In this situation, we actually would have been better off getting the fourth line left winger, because then we would have got Max Pacioretty. But no, Jordan Martinook. So we might have had back-to-back bad selections, but you know what? We're going to bounce back with this next one. Never mind. I think it's impossible to bring a good player away from this team. The Chicago Blackhawks. No, like real talk, do not give me first line right winger. Don't give me first line here. This wheel actually hates me. To start this video off, we got so many great players. Nathan McKinnon, Malkin, Burakovsky, Kadri, Philip Gustafson, Hampus Lindholm, and the last 4 selections have been Tyler Myers, Frank Vatrano, Jordan Martinook, and now Taylor Radish. This team's fallen apart quick. So we've quickly went from being one of the best teams in the league to potentially not making the playoffs. And Philly, I need a miracle here. Like real talk, I was expecting us to probably win 50 games. Now I'm not even sure if we can win 40. And Philly's defense, I have no confidence in whatsoever, so I don't even know what we're going to be adding. This is a joke, right? Nick Seeler, 75 overall. No, this has to be a prank. Ain't no way we got a player worse than anyone on Chicago. 75 overall Nick Seeler. The dumpster fire known as our team just keeps getting worse and worse. How have we got 5 straight terrible selections? Tampa, there's no way you can disappoint me, right? I think no matter what we get here, it's going to be an upgrade from our team. Second line left winger, that's not bad. I would have preferred first pairing left defenseman though, because it would have been Victor Hedman. But second line left winger, it can't be that bad. So unfortunately, we're going to be missing out on the top guys in Tampa, but I kind of expected that. So we're going to be securing Brandon Hagel. And congrats on securing the bag, my guy. Picked up a couple M's the other day. You love to see it. So we're down to our final 2 spins here. We got a left defenseman left, and I think a third pairing right D-man. Washington, I don't think your defense is that great. I'm just going to keep it a buck. I mean, I am a very casual hockey fan, so they might have a great left defenseman that I don't know about. First pairing left D-man, I don't think it's Rasmus Sedin, is it? I'm under the impression it's not Rasmus Sedin, but it might be. So it's not Rasmus Sedin, it's actually Martin Feravari. And honestly, I'm actually completely fine with the selection because we have no defensive defenseman on the team so far. Or I don't think we do, so picking up a great defensive defenseman in Feravari, actually, I'm going to take back my statement. Washington, you got a handful of great defensive pieces here, and as long as you continue to add some young pieces to your core, once Ovi retires, you'll be in a decent spot. Whatever you do, just don't do what the Pittsburgh Penguins are doing, because there's no way that team wins more than 10 games in about 5 years. Also, with our final spin, we got the LA Kings. So from the LA Kings, it's already been decided what we're going to be bringing to this team. It's going to be a third pairing right D-man. but I'll spin the wheel just to be sure. And to finish out our lineup from the Los Angeles Kings, our third pairing right defenseman is going to be Sean Durzi. So after collecting all of our players, this is what our team's looking like, and every single player's position, that's what they have to play. So Nazem Kadri, he has to be our third line center, even though he probably could play on our first line, because Vetrano and Taylor Radish definitely should not be here, but that's what they're going to be playing. They're going to be playing on the first line. Defensively, not too bad. I mean, we got some good pieces here, except for Nick Seeler. Definitely do not want him on this team. And Gustafsson, Nedeljkovic, I think they can win us a handful of games. Hopefully we can make the playoffs, because that's definitely not guaranteed. So when the season came to an end, we're actually performing better than I was expecting. 7th in the entire league with a 44-30-8 record. Yeah, I have no clue how we finished 7th. I was thinking more around 11-12, but hey, I'll definitely take 7th. I don't think it's really much of a surprise that Nathan McKinnon's going to be leading our team. He's picking up 52 goals and 49 helpers for 101 points. And then Kadri being our second leading scorer at 62 points, and Malkin only picking up 57. Nah, this team actually underperformed. And Burakovsky, 44 points. I'm expecting more from you. You're supposed to be leading our team and you're letting me down. In between the pipes, Gustafsson, a not bad season from him. 33 wins, a 916 to 262, 3 shutouts as well. These regular season numbers don't really mean too much if we can't perform in the postseason. And in the postseason, we're definitely going to have our hands full with our first matchup as we have to take on the Winnipeg Jets. Record-wise, we were pretty close with Winnipeg. They won 2 more games than us. So I mean, 2 games, that's basically nothing. But we're going to be dominating the first 2 games of this series before dropping the next 2. It's tied 2-2, so game 5 is going to be a massive one. We're dropping that one as well. Can we stay alive in game 6 and have a chance at winning a Stanley Cup? No, we can't. We're getting shut out. So after winning the first 2 games of the series, we're going to drop 4 straight and get eliminated. So realistically, I think the biggest downfall of this team was somewhat being affiliated with the Chicago Blackhawks. I think by keeping their logo, that's what's been holding us back. So if we ever do a video like this in the future, we're no longer the Chicago Hawks. We're going to be rebranding the rebrand.